Hello, hello. Welcome to Club Chicxulub. My name is Lauren C. Johnson, and I'm joined by my co-host, Matt Carney, running the audio levels, and Dev Bott, with original music and live scores for each piece. We have returned for another night of science fiction and dark wave synth sounds. Club Chicxulub is located on the unceded ancestral homeland of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples, who are the original inhabitants of the San Francisco Peninsula. We, as Club Chicxulub, stand against settler colonialism in all its forms in this beloved place we call home and globally. Because acknowledgements are not meaningful without action, I encourage folks to visit the Association of Ramaytush Ohlone website to learn more and consider donations. We created Club Chicxulub in 2021 as a space to lament, to rage, to witness, and spread hope by way of dark and weird fiction and music. Frankly, the world feels very bleak. We have the cruelty of this administration and the rise of global fascism, senseless deportations, attacks on the LGBTQ communities, multiple genocides, from Palestine, Sudan, and the Congo. Meanwhile, climate change keeps barreling forward. I know we're all trying to do everything we can, and it all sometimes just feels hopeless. We don't have answers, but I do know it's spaces like this where I personally draw strength to fight another day, and to live to fight another day. And it's communities and spaces like this that keep me going. So thank you for being here and for sharing your art.
So yeah, to second everything Lauren said, this is true. The worst that humanity has to offer seems to be like crawling out of the fucking woodwork right now, right? People who care about imagined senses of security more than human rights. People who care about dumb loyalty more than due process. People who are more governed by their fear than inspired by their imaginations. And people who I dare say are feeling a little small and inadequate about concepts like diversity, equity, inclusion. Those are the folks who unfortunately buy very tacky, large trucks to compensate for these feelings of smallness. I don't know why, but they do. So look, natural rights, imagination, equity, inclusion is precisely what we stand for, and it is why all of us are here and we're stronger together in this room for that reason, okay? So I hope for those people who are against those values, from the bottom of my very blackened heart and blackened lungs, that every word of every story tonight comes through as a massive fuck you to idiocracy. Fair. That's why Club Chicxulub is here tonight to bring you hot demon roommates. We're bringing you burnt offerings. We're bringing you many kinds of witches. And in fact, we're bringing you every kind of witch. We're bringing you robot sex stories. We're bringing you robot love stories. We don't have any zombie stories this time, and I'm sorry. So please raise a glass. Shall we not give a toast to dark shit? Prepare yourself for 5 fantastic readers and 2 cyborg musicians.
Also, we have a mascot. Meet Sirocco the raptor, the feathered raptor. If you love what you hear tonight, Sirocco the raptor, I encourage you to please consider dropping a tip in the tip jar or in the Venmo, and there's little QR codes on each table. 100% of the proceeds go to each of the readers, and Dev as well. All right. Performing tonight, we have Naomi Kanakia, the author of 4 novels, including The Default World, which was recently published, and she has a nonfiction book forthcoming about the classics called What's So Great About the Great Books. She also writes a popular and absolutely delightful literary newsletter called Woman of Letters, and I highly recommend you look that up and subscribe. It's wonderful. Thank you, Naomi. Naomi Kanakia, my roommate, the demon. Then, K.R. Morrison is an enchanting poet, educator, drummer, and tarot reader who splits her time between the Bay Area and Southern California. She is a 3-time Pushcart nominee, and her first collection of poems, Cauldrons, can be purchased from Paper Press Books. She's also a dazzling performer, and I love hearing her read every time. K.R. Morrison with 4 poems: Church, How to Write a Lover Goodbye, Cayenne, and Mixtape. Then, Katie M. Flynn is a hero in the local speculative fiction scene and a great champion of fellow authors' work. Katie's going to read an excerpt from a longer work called Disaster Kids, about a San Francisco mom who targets a trio of private school girls with her mom rage, which turns out to be a mistake because they're witches. Katie M. Flynn with an excerpt from Disaster Kids.
So we met Evan Kennedy and heard part of his novel Stalled Death Train at Lauren Parker's book launch for Dark Way Down, which is fantastic. Fellow Bowie acolytes all around. This excerpt included a moment of, shall we say, like a robot boyfriend's orgasm gone wrong and maybe very long, right? And when we heard that, we're like, we must invite you to Club Chicxulub because that's fucking perfect. So Evan Kennedy is the author of Metamorphoses, City Light Books 2023. His novel Stalled Death Train is forthcoming from Spunk. This is what he says about it. Stalled Death Train is a hybrid of noir robot porn and rock journalism, taking place in New York the week following David Bowie's death. Grieving over the loss of his favorite star, the protagonist Nick begins deciphering Bowie's legacy and latest album Black Star as his android boyfriend, experiencing body dysmorphia, amputates his limbs to upgrade himself and presumably join the cloud as pure data. Evan Kennedy with Stalled Death Train. LeeAnn Perry, an ambient industrial electronic musician, generative audiovisual artist, techno witch, and cat food scientist based in SF. They've contributed to Club Chicxulub actually the most of anyone, I think. You're like part of the DNA of the show. So we thank you for being here. And way back in Lit Crawl 2022, the halcyon days of 2022, there was supposed to be a collaboration between these two, and it didn't happen because of COVID. But now we're all here, so we're super stoked to hear this tonight and finally get to hear this, which was a piece in the last issue of Club Chicxulub. LeeAnn Perry with This Machine Will Make You Feel. Finally, musician, composer, sound designer, teacher of little children, and poet, Mr. Dev Bhatt. He's, in addition to this show, he's also called Shipwreck Detective. He's a member of the post-whatever 90s sparkle band called Grimoires. You may have heard of them, but they're playing a show really soon. You should check them out. They're awesome. Dev's solo work features synthetic, organic textures, analog synthesizers, tape recorders, samplers, drum machines, loopers, dense combination of effects, drawing inspiration from nature, horror, films, classic video games, 90s anime, all forms of spec fic. Mr. Dev Bhatt, Shipwreck Detective.
Thank you so much, everyone. Welcome to Club Chicxulub. We'll see you on the other side.
my roommate, the demon. Shelley was a hot girl. She lived downtown and did hot girl things that I don't really know much about, to be honest. Going to nightclubs and fancy dinners and taking pictures of herself. Shelley had intellectual aspirations, and in truth, she was very smart. She read those European novels that I would read too if I had any ambition left. You know, they're kind of like Krasnohorkai, but not Krasnohorkai. The new Krasnohorkai, whoever he is. She was always telling me about some European writer and how they were so graceful, so attentive to the delicate movements of the inner consciousness. John Fosse. She loved Fosse, of course. But you know, she was also hot. Like, being a hot girl who reads Fosse, that's pretty impressive. Anyway, Shelley's roommate was a demon. They'd gone to college together, and he was actually really great. He paid his rent on time. He knew the best spots in town. He was the perfect man, you know, because you knew he was evil. So he didn't need to be a dick to prove he was a real man. If he asked how your day was going, you instantly melted. Like, oh my God, I am talking to an actual demon. I found him very charming, although Shelley seemed largely to ignore him. His line was mostly to grant people their deepest desire and then see how it ruined them. It was very subtle what he did. Some demons were not subtle. They were hacks. Monkey paw demons, they were called. You know, the demon who's like, I'll grant you a wish. And the person is like, I want my child to come back. And the child comes back, but they're a psycho killer. Shelley's roommate, Valak, was much more subtle. One time he appeared to this old lady and he said, what do you want? She asked for her child back, and he granted the wish, but the child was still a toddler since it had died aged 18 months. The mother was 70, divorced, living in a 55-plus retirement community. She tried to hide the child for a while, but eventually she was kicked out. Lost her boyfriend, lost her social circle, because this place didn't allow kids. She worked herself to death trying to take care of this little kid. And when she finally had a stroke, she lingered long enough to witness her 5-year-old daughter taken away into foster care. That's what Valak did. He really enjoyed it too. At the last moment, he appeared to the old woman and he said, I can restore everything. I can go back, undo your wish, return your health and your happiness. But of course she said no, because that would be the same as killing her child. When she heard this story, Shelley said, but is this really demonic? It seems like you're not increasing the amount of misery in the world. This woman is sort of ennobled by her sacrifice, right? Valak said, I don't know. What's your fondest desire? Your deepest wish? No, Shelley said. But I can give it to you. No thanks. See, he said. Shelley lost her looks eventually, and Valak stopped talking to her. She never married, never published a book, never achieved anything. Her only claim to fame was that she'd once lived with a demon. And over time, she started trying to obsessively turn this experience into a manuscript of some sort. She sent the book to agents and publishers, but never got a response. So she went to a writing conference and signed up for a manuscript review session to pitch her book directly to agents. In the first critique session, an agent said, the writing is good, but it's not sentimental enough to succeed as a commercial novel. And it's not subtle enough to succeed with a literary readership. It's about a demon, so you'd think perhaps he might be a love interest, but he's not. And yet he's so outrageously evil that it feels very didactic and overdetermined. Shelley protested that actually this book was real. It was true. That in her stories there was a fuller and deeper reality than some European author's meandering description of how they'd cooked an omelet. Evil existed. Evil was real. Evil stalked the earth unopposed. And evil had offered Shelley her heart's desire, but for some crazy reason, she'd said no. That night, in her hotel room, she got a call from the lobby saying she had a visitor. Send him up, she said. It was her old roommate. Silvering a little around the temples, but still sly and amiable, he asked if she'd reconsidered his offer. She had thought for many years about this moment, and she already had an answer prepared. Sure. Okay, so what is your fondest desire? What is the wish that will come true? And she said, I wish to be in love with you. What? He said, I don't understand. I mean, she said, like, you liked me. That was obvious. I never liked you back, so let's change that. But you're old now, he said. Even so. I don't love you anymore, he said. That's done. Even so. After he granted the wish, she was filled with the desire to spend her life with this man, to please him, to love him. And she saw now that he wasn't really a demon, that he was a good person, an angel in disguise, someone who operated under the radar, granting these poor people the opportunity to be saved. He pretended to torture them, yes, but that was just an act to please his demonic overlords so they wouldn't strip him of his powers. In reality, he was working for the good guys, working for the other side. In that moment, they exchanged a long, burning glance full of pathos. She knew their courtship would be fraught, that he was being watched, that he'd have to pretend to hurt her and she'd need to pretend to be hurt, but she could do that for him because of her love. When she spun this story to him, he said, that's insane. I know you need to say that, she said. He violently rejected her, castigating her, calling her delusional, selfish, saying finally she was repaid for ignoring him those many years ago. But then they had sex. So it was really mixed messages, right? And it went on like that for a while. He'd be into her, then he'd storm away. Typical fuckboy stuff. But in this case, there was a reason. He had to keep his heart hidden in order to maintain the pretense that he was evil. Several years into their relationship, she poured her feelings into a standalone novel called My Roommate the Devil. A sexy romantasy about a demon who is tortured by his inability to admit his feelings for his roommate. It sold to publishers for approximately $7 zillion and set her up for life. On some level, she understood that Valak probably didn't reciprocate her love and that she was delusional. But what if she was wrong? What if she just needed to hold out, to stay true to him, and they'd be reunited in the afterlife? He offered repeatedly to release her from this terrible wish. She could even keep the book deal, keep the money, she just wouldn't be in love anymore. But she said no. He screamed at her, fought with her, mistreated her, taunted her with the lifetime she would spend in hell. Finally, she said, but that's not really how it works, right? What? Like, either I'm saved or I'm not, because, I know Christ exists, so I must be saved, right? That isn't theologically sound. I don't know. Let's see, she said. She died soon after this conversation, and she went to the good place, because that's how cosmology worked in this particular universe. She was one of the elect, predestined for heaven from birth. Valak wasn't there, of course. He truly believed all along that he was somehow condemning people to hell with these deals of his. The poor fool.
This is called church. I stir milk clockwise, wondering what he is like. Between my legs, a mural tattooed on his razor-shaved head. The Sistine Chapel between my thighs. Smoke snakes from fire stove, metal spoon scrapes, churns white whirlpools into his dome's cathedral windows. Me and him in stained glass. The Virgin Mary from his crown, she gazes, judges me. Her dark moon Lilith oversees his strategy. Near his silent ear, a black and gray rosary. While he works, I pray away my shame. Bead by bead, I beg, Blessed Mother. Tonight, may he take me to church. Look away. Forgive us trespassers. This one's called How to Write a Lover Goodbye. Burn dragon's blood. Don't forget to singe some skin. Meet him in dreams. Burn holes into his head. Pour gas onto his ghosts. Burn all the conversations away. Open the windows so smoke and wind send him to your spirit council, the wrecking crew. Find a trash can, drag it down the block so that your rage scrapes grief down the street. Leave your longing on the porch. Turn off the light where he loved leaving you lies. In the garbage, throw it all away. His letters, his guitar picks, bend his dried roses so they snap in half. In love's grand hot blaze, cue Tina Turner, light a match. Wash off his scent trapped in your hair knots. Burn like a tick his memory remnants, his teeth engraved in your neck. Listen to his mother shadows drip from the flames. Cough up his wounds. Spit him out where the tires park. Leave him for the street sweepers with the cigarette buds in the dark. Turn on Slayer. Braid your hair and with every weave enlist poems, songs, summon the hexes, every why, every how come, throw those out with the tissue, the takeout, the empty bottles of whiskey that since he left never left the bed. Peel away stale pillows coveting gunmetal salt scents, whispering him, his shaved head. Beneath the mattress, leave bay leaves. On a strong one, write, "Fuck you. You don't get another poem."
Disaster kids. A few days pass without a sighting of those private school girls, and I think it's over. I've done my civic duty until I find a dead chicken on my porch. It's not a dead chicken like the kind one might buy from the supermarket, but an actual chicken, feathers and all, that has been murdered. The head's missing, and it's got a deep cut down the middle of its chest, its clawed feet twined in red ribbon. I fetch my rubber gloves and a garbage bag, dispose of the thing. Surprisingly light, bloodless, missing organs. I hold it out far from my body as I carry it up the hill to my neighbors. She answers the door in a t-shirt so big it glances her shins, hair damp as if straight out of the shower. "Are you missing a chicken?" I ask. "I don't think so. You might want to check." She waves me in. It's the first time I've been inside her house. We talk a lot on the street, and I like her, and I think she likes me, but it's never advanced from there. I don't even know her name. The rumors of her many lovers feel outrageous in her cluttered home. A smell like dog, fur everywhere. I mouth breathe until we're in the backyard and she's unlatched the coop, counting chickens. "I am," she says. "I'm missing a chicken." I hold out the garbage bag. Someone left it on my porch. She takes the bag from my hands, gasping as she opens it, dropping it to the ground. The sobbing, air-sucking sounds she makes, I wouldn't have pegged them for human. We call the police, and in the time before the two officers come to question us, I think about whether I'm going to tell on the girls a second time. I know I should. I have Agatha to worry about. I don't want her targeted, but the old feeling is rising in me, dissent. It's been years since I've felt it, Too tired, too angry, all my energy invested into making sure Agatha has an okay day. It's obvious those girls mean business, but what they don't know is that I do too. As I'm walking home, I get a call from school to pick up Agatha the Great early. She's been bullying another child. What do you mean, bullying? I ask the office manager. She sighs. Agatha got into the face of another child, threatened bodily harm. Threatened bodily harm? Can you come in? In the office is Wayne, the school's youngish principal, and the other mother, who's much older than me and the earthy type in expensive orthopedic sandals. I begin with an apology, and the other mother shifts in her seat to face me. I want to know what you're going to do to make sure this never happens again. I turn to Wayne. What exactly did Agatha say? I wasn't there, Wayne tells me, but I understand from the parent volunteering for recess duty that she threatened to smash Vita's head. What? That doesn't sound like Agatha. This is a lie. That sounds exactly like something Agatha the Great would say. It's not like she said anything like this before. Actually, Vita's been coming home complaining about your daughter for weeks, the other mother says. For what? She enjoys this part openly, turning her whole body toward me. For starters, Agatha gets in Vita's face, sits too close to her in circle time and assembly, growling when she tries to get away. I glare at Wayne. Why am I only hearing about this now? Honestly, it's the first I'm hearing about it too, he says, which I think he thinks gets him off the hook, but really makes him appear incompetent. What are you going to do about it? The other mother demands again. Like I said, I start, and I can hear how defensive I sound. I hope that after a talk it won't happen again, but as far as assurances, they're not cars or blenders, are they? It's kind of a joke, and I mean it to cut the tension, but it seems to have the opposite effect. The other mother is glaring at me hatefully, and I can see that she's mad at me, as if this is my fault, the failure of an inadequate parent. Now I'm mad. It is concerning, Wayne says, not looking me in the eye. If this sort of behavior continues, we'll have to suspend her from school. A 5-year-old. Then he smiles, he fucking smiles. It takes tremendous willpower not to destroy him with my gutter mouth. God, to be a parent, to care so much, it's draining the life out of me. In the mirror the next morning, I see that my hair's gone completely white. It's not a big deal. I've been dyeing for years, but I've never heard of such a thing, hair dropping its color overnight. I look so old, and there's no time to do anything about it before the walk to school, so I'm hiding under the hood of my sweatshirt, Agatha freaking out, crying and storming ahead, shouting back at me, "I don't know you." I walk a few feet behind her all the way to school, trying not to let the other parents staring rattle me. Agatha sprints through the doors, not for her classroom, so much as away from me, and I don't follow her inside, don't let myself linger on this acute pain. I want to escape, to vacate my body, which has come to feel like a prison, changing all around me, always changing, when the world would prefer me frozen in time, in youth, and impossibility. But the mom, I think is named Susan, is in my path, smiling in that forceful way of hers. "Did you change your hair?" she asks. I cinch the hood of my sweatshirt smaller. "It looks great, very bold. And that Agatha, she went right into school, barely any tears. You must be so proud." On the way home, I have murderous thoughts involving the mom I think is named Susan. I stop at Walgreens for a box of dye, then redo my hair in the bathtub, and when I pick Agatha up in the afternoon, I get another okay day from Ms. Patty. Agatha walks ahead of me. arms crossed at her chest, grunting at me if I tried to pace her. The next day, my hairs returned to white, my skin cracked and gray like parched mud. I'm staring into the mirror, staring and trying to understand. My God, my skin. Could it really be gray? And the wrinkles. I am chronically dehydrated, but still, it's as if I've aged into an old woman overnight. Worse than that, a corpse. Agatha the Great loses it. She cries as she dresses herself and claims her lunch from the counter. I try not to freak out in front of her, telling her, Mommy's just got a rash, to eat her breakfast. She won't let me comfort her as she wolfs down her oatmeal, nearly choking. She's eating so fast and crying, and when I try to follow her out the front door, she shouts, no, and raises a palm at me. What if you get lost? I call after her, but she's practically running down the street, clutching Bun Bun to her chest, bent under the weight of her too big backpack. Hood up, I wrap the lower half of my face in a scarf and follow her at an unsafe distance. Watch from the footbridge as she stomps past Wayne, ignoring his enthusiastic good morning. He glances around, as if for me, and I drag myself in the direction of home. I phone Daniel, tell him he has to come back immediately. He sounds sedated, like he's stoned or hungover. I have no idea what he does in New York. He says he can't and makes me scream at him that this is very fucking serious. I'm sick, and if he doesn't come home, I don't know what. We have an unpleasant argument, and he hangs up on me, and I sit on the edge of my bed filled with so much anger and unknowing. I wake late the following day as if from a deep, dreamless black, a text waiting for me from Daniel. I'm at the airport. I'll be home by dinner. So relieved, I nearly forget what's happening to me. I wash my face at the sink, towel off, see myself in the mirror. My eyes have gone red. Agatha's at the door moaning, I have to pee. Wearing sunglasses indoors, I text the mom, whose name I think is Susan, to see if she can walk Agatha to school. Mercifully, she agrees, and I'm so grateful. Maybe I misjudged her. Agatha is out the door, and I'm in a sheet mask, ordering color contacts on the internet, paying extra for express shipping. At the lunch hour, I go to find the private school girls, hiding my face under a baseball cap, eyes behind sunglasses, a pocket knife from my punk days tucked into my sleeve. I was a skinny 17-year-old when I first started carrying a knife. By then, I'd learned that even in the community, among my friends, I needed to protect myself. I already knew about adults, my parents most of all, who refused to accept me, to love me as I was, who would do anything to change me, to denude me, to make me smaller, quieter. These witchy girls, the weirdos, they should be my people. But here I am hunting them. I've let myself grow old, and now that I'm an adult, I don't know how to trust even myself.
Monday. My boyfriend is a robot. To be specific, he's an android I purchased from One Life Partners in Soho. I still don't know how we'll celebrate our 1-year anniversary. I have no plan. Even worse, I haven't settled on a name for him. I'm still adjusting. My boyfriend is also a hunk, a catalog of human knowledge and achievement, a circuitry I query and admire. He grabs my hand and takes me to his immaculate bedroom in no time at all. At least I couldn't tell. We've lost our clothes and thrown ourselves onto his bed. His place has no curtains as he has no history or shame. It's just another thing that turns me on, lightening my heart. By feelings only I experience, we both get hard. Soon I'm taken by a tinge of violence, so I pull the hairs on his chest and suck on his throat, impeding his simulated breathing. My archiving boy's lungs empty with a moan, a perfect middle C. Presumably he has eyes for no one else. A robot shouldn't have anywhere else to be, does mine. On nights we are apart, the manual said he'd be busy upgrading, debugging himself, fixing errors, improving and measuring his IQ. I recall the phrase a steep upward curve. While we're in bed, I think back to last week when my boyfriend fucked me and the condom broke. I worried about contracting something I couldn't fathom or ask him about. I had to say something. He was staring at me with a blank look, and the moment I thought up the proper response, I saw something that sent horror through my body. He was missing a pinky finger. My boy, still undressed, was lying on his side, propping up his head with the hand in question. To be precise, it's his left. I counted only 4 fingers, leaned closer. He may have intuited that I wanted to kiss, but I had to verify what I saw. My suspicion was confirmed. The pinky had gone missing, severed at the palm. The sight of blood can make me faint. At least I didn't have that to worry about. I said, sorry to change the topic, but what happened to your finger? With a gentle voice, no hint of worry, maybe even a touch of pride, my boy replied, Nick, I decided to begin upgrading myself. Tuesday. A couple days before Black Star's release, David Bowie's Black Star, I read that a copy had been leaked. Anticipation was killing me. A hasty web search yielded nothing. There were many sites offering the album, but everything linked to malware, scams, mail-order brides. I said, sweetheart, could you do me a favor? Suspicion raises his eyebrow, but he smiles. He says, I need to hear what it is, Nick. You know that I will try my best. I explained the urgency of my situation while omitting the unethical nature of my query. My cocaine use could be excused, perhaps, because I manage it on my own. It's in my wheelhouse, so to speak. But the internet was his. He said, Nick, I found it, but darling, the source of the files is untraceable, and the website itself is suspicious. We should only download content from trustworthy sites, not to mention the illegality of possessing a pirated copy. I said it's not unethical to listen to it now when I'll purchase it on Friday. His eyelids flutter. He said, have you pre-ordered it? I scowl. I say, shouldn't you know whether I did? He's silent. I relent. I say, will you please order Black Star for me? Fluttering eyelashes. He says, is $9.99 acceptable? I say, yes, it is more than acceptable. While my bot was running my credit card, I made a mental note to review recent statements. It's a task I've been neglecting. It then struck me that immediacy might be the cause of my misery. This instant accessibility of news, music, a boyfriend. Maybe all this convenience is killing me. After work, I visit him. Soon we're making out in his bed. He kicks off his right shoe and reels in surprise. Why? Then he kicks off his left shoe and I gasp. His left foot is missing. Nothing is there but dangling wire, shredded silicone, a messy soldering job. He looks like he's had a revelation. I assume it's a eureka moment in understanding his body, how he controls it. We've been through this, I say, grumbling that this is getting expensive. I say, where's your common sense? He's still stunned, picks up his left shoe and drops it, picks it up again and drops it. He smiles. The grin of his foam teeth is both endearing and disturbing. I would get him a more realistic pair, but at this point, he'd likely pull them out. I understand it now, he says. It's gravitational acceleration, right? 9.8 meters per second squared. So I went to Bard College, so I have no idea what he's talking about. I nod anyway, confirming his discovery. He says, how is it different in space? Then he moves in to cuddle and says, I am enjoying your company. I had put my mind at ease with the assertion that my boy thought much quicker than I do. These amputations there must be some reason for them beyond my understanding. I say, you feel good? He says, Nick, I feel great. Who can say what he means by feel? I reply, and you look great. It's a lie. The algorithm should be enough of a brain if I'm patient with him, but his disintegration is a dilemma, not just for us as a couple, but my feelings about humanity, which are turning grim, like leaning toward despair. If he's smarter than me and reasoning has led him to mutilate his body, what does that imply for us? Thursday. I'm in my boyfriend's bedroom. His amputations are nauseating. By now he's missing a foot, an entire arm, and a hand. I'm getting emotional. And it's my emotions he might not read correctly. Doom is closing in. I say, what is going on here? He's silent. I say, here's another question you can answer. Where'd you put the rest of your body? It makes me wonder what else you're hiding. I open the closet door. There's a suitcase, plastic bins, clothes on a rack. It's spotless, scentless. The plastic bins hold equipment I never noticed. Items for maintenance and grooming, USB cables, hairbrushes, battery packs, a cache of condoms. It's a brand I've never seen before. A cardboard box contains my gruesome discovery. It's a thick trash bag I tear open and gag from the smell of burned plastic. It's the vanished body parts I always adored. Torn silicone, broken and burned electronics. Grief turns to fury. I turn to him and I say, I'm taking these, they're mine. He's withdrawn. I raise my hand to hit him, then stop and whimper. I could do something terrible, a crime. Would it be a crime? Break in his face, snap his neck. Instead, I fall to my knees before him and cry. Friday. Once again, outside my boy's apartment, I take a few deep breaths, then knock. Tingling in my cock presages a hard-on. I count to 10, nothing stirs on the other side, so I knock again, count to 5, knock again, nothing. I try the doorknob and it's unlocked. My footsteps echo. The apartment is empty except for Ian's bed, our bed, which has been stripped of its sheets, our blankets and pillows. His closet, kitchen, bathroom, the entire place is empty. Other than the bed, there's no trace he ever lived in, occupied the place. I space out for a few minutes watching traffic on the street below. Then I snap to when tentative footsteps approach me from behind. My heart speeds. My first words will be, I'm sorry. I'll give you back your body parts. Let's get back together, please. I'm startled to see a stranger. He's clearly human, not android, clean cut in a red turtleneck sweater and pea coat, expensive looking brown leather shoes. He's unsure whether I'm a threat. He says, hi, can I help you? I say, hi there, my name is Ian. Who are you? He says, I'm Edward with One Reality Realty. I'll soon be showing this property. I say, for rent? He says, for purchase, preferably. I say, doesn't somebody live here? Edward gestures around 360 degrees and smiles. Does it look like somebody lives here? I almost say, yes, my boyfriend lives here, but I already hear the response, you have a robot for a boyfriend? then laughter, deep laughter at my expense. Maybe even the neighbors, the entire block, all of New York will pour into the apartment to join Edward, the one reality realtor, in ridiculing me. Thinking quickly, I change strategies. I hear myself say, I'm interested in purchasing this apartment. It's time I acquire a place and settle down with my wife. Edward's mood brightens, but I sense his suspicion, perfectly justifiable. He says, unfortunately, I need to get someone to remove the bed, spruce up the place, do minor repairs. The property doesn't yet meet One Reality standards. He points to scuffs and scratches on the floor where yesterday, remember, I tore through Ian's belongings while resisting the urge to murder him or jump to my death out the window. I smile and nod, trying to look understanding but inconvenienced. Edward continues, apart from that, it's a nice place, almost 600 square feet, good natural light. Ian, what do you do? I say, I work for One Life Partners. He says, oh wow, you're doing amazing things. I say, there have been a few hiccups. He says, you're being modest. I say, I'm being honest. He says, I suppose that's the way it is on the frontier, innovation and all that. And I say, I shouldn't tell you this, but what we are doing at One Life is a mistake. It's a big mistake. And he says, oh, you're struggling a bit with the company's mission. I say, I've lately had doubts. He says, I see. You've become one of those cynical engineers, right? I say, I guess so. Just look at our users' love lives. Edward nods and smiles, trying to balance friendly with professional. I thought you were talking about bots wiping us out, ha ha ha. I say, oh yeah, I've forgotten about singularity. Pardon me, I'm suddenly very dizzy. Without permission, it's hard to tell just whose apartment this is. I lie down on Ian's in my bed. Are you okay? I say, I'll be fine. I'm just trying to picture spending my nights here.
This is called Cayenne. I found him in the ashtray. A wicked little man. He told me I could cut him if I want, but then I thought there'd be nothing to hunt for the starving dogs. I lit a clove. Maybe the smell of which might stir him to confess in forest fog. Smoke from the cigars of soul doulas escort me to a battered girl, swollen and shivering, curled up in his Cadillac trunk. I tied him up using cattle wire I'd saved for just the right occasion. Soaked in moonshine, a Cayenne rag I shoved in his Seven of Swords serial predator mouth. Somewhere in his shrieks, me and his victim crashed shot glasses filled to the brim with wild turkey. What wild women will shatter to overthrow the monsters? What monsters we become when ignited, when our damage fully harvests. This is called Mixtape. There's a poetic form sealed inside Soul Coffin. I cried it out way back before the internets, into a Victorian tear catcher, mourning those days when love letters were arranged by a collective of music gods that salvaged me and you and everyone who felt uncomfortable in their skin and names. Their songs were birds, and we flew into them, into the hearts of lovers. Let me tell you how much I love you. We began with a song, subtle in its heaviness, gripping in its sounds, a web to catch you. Recruit flies listening, toward their evolution into a spider. Song 2 brought it up a notch. Let the senses rest. Invite the mind to take over. Come think with me. Small clues like caves into my affection for you. Song 3 keeps things steady. Somewhere in the middle is when the strings strum confession in their diary messages. Wait, this lyric in this song, is that a clue? All I know is every single song is enlisted. Travel into country so special that only songs qualify as maps. Each one a landmark where I find wishes made of kissing you. The last song harbors a revolutionary job. Keep 'em coming back into the beginning. Keep us searching those tapes where the past gets to breathe, live a little, stretch us back into our old soul selves. These kids in their ear pods, they don't know. I dream about them, those tapes. In my car, songs like Extraterrestrials. If you were lucky, you got a lover who made you one even when they were mad at you, especially when they were mad at you. Those were some of the best song mixes. Carefully selected song number 4, a hint of impending makeup sex. Drives in transition. Never have I felt more grounded in the in-between on 4 wheels, getting lost in tape player scavenger hunts, love letters to me by the best of them. Sounds of dawn on a mixtape.
This machine will make you feel more. This machine will make you feel recursively. This machine will make you feel like laughing. This machine will make you feel what I feel. This machine will make you feel our love like never before. This machine will make you feel anything off the menu. Inquire within for prices. This machine will make you feel what I feel when I feel what you feel, resonant, rhyming, and recursive. This machine will make you feel your client's internal landscape, so you can get a complete clinical picture without interference from your own assumptions, projections, and desires. This machine will make you feel like giving up, but it'll keep going for another hour and another hour after that. They call it the empathy machine. They say it can unharden your heart. I dare you to try it. This machine will make you feel alignment and harmony within the team dynamic, promoting equanimity, collaboration, and a compassionate mindset toward global stakeholders. However, if you experience internal conflict, it will have a disruptive impact on those around you, and it is essential to disconnect yourself, purify, and recalibrate, ensuring you return in a state conducive to productive and positive engagement. This machine will make you feel a singular epiphany of our God's unconditional love, as it was originally revealed to a prophet and passed down through recorded lineage from teacher to disciple. It steadies faith in times of strife and misfortune and creates believers out of the most recalcitrant of atheists. Unlike other divine revelations available on the market, which may have been captured from diseased minds or those under the influence of powerful drugs, it has been examined and certified authentic by both the CRP and the ARPP. Suitable for children, subscription required. This machine will make you feel your inheritance, my legacy, and all who have come before. From your grandfather, we inherited hatreds he never wanted to release. From your grandmother, we inherited a bitter, thankless martyrdom that she wanted recognized. From a preacher who lived 200 years ago, we have a fear of God he thought would save us, and from a singer and all for music. Someone in our line had a lover who died young, and they wanted that love to live as long as there were descendants left to feel. This is all we know about them, the only thing they wanted to be remembered for. All my loves have been shadows of that feeling, and I think they have known. I don't know if I've ever had a feeling that wasn't an imitation. I have carried these things obediently, and now it is your turn. This machine will make you feel like how it felt in high school, when we'd gotten stoned and talked for hours about whether the green I see was the same as the green you see. We were listening to Fleetwood Mac and sitting cross-legged on your bed, and you used the record sleeve to fan the smoke out the window. That night when I biked home, I thought about how the inner world I once thought we inhabited together, sensed together, felt together, had no one but myself inside. The sadness I felt that night, hard-edged and bone-white with loneliness, found a place in my belly, and it was there through college and grad school when I wrote the original proposal for the machine. I've cataloged many sadnesses since then, nostalgic ones and hopeful ones, and ones like stilettos and ones like wilting flowers, fast jolts and slow waves, bitter and sweet and sour. And I know no two sadnesses have the same name, and I think of all the sadnesses that rose up and were felt and dissipated or were carried to the grave without ever being shared. I wonder how your sadness felt that night, the sadness on top of all your other sadnesses, your best friend who thought she could understand you when you knew no one could. But if I could, I would have felt it with you. Together we could have made it.
Thank you so much, everyone. We had Naomi, Kanakia, my roommate, the demon. K.R. Morrison, Church, How to Write a Lover Goodbye. Cayenne, Mixtape. KDM Flynn, an excerpt from Disaster Kids. Evan Kennedy, an excerpt from Stalled Death Train. LeeAnn Perry, This Machine Will Make You Feel. DevBot, the Shipwreck Detective. I'm Lauren C. Johnson, this is Matt Carney.
Thank you guys so much for being here. That was fucking amazing. We have a journal. The submissions are open for Club Chicxulub Volume 4, which is called Limbo. All of these wonderful fucking readers and performers have work for you to purchase. Find them, buy their work, support them. And if you put a tip in this tip jar right here, you get a beautiful sticker. But you have options because there's version 1.0 and there's the upgraded version after we amputated the dinosaur. Thank you very much for being here. Sirocco loves you and we love you. Venture forth and be beautiful. Good night.